Alright everybody, what is going on? How you all doing? Just finished watching episode 5 of Death Parade, and I cannot, again, I will do this at the beginning of every single episode review that I do for you guys on this show. Go watch this show. This show is just amazing. I absolutely love this show. I love the setting, I love the story, I pretty much love everything about it. It is amazing. But this episode was particularly pretty awesome because it shows a little bit more background on the world that pretty much all this takes place in. The bar, the arbiters, pretty much what they're doing, and we get to see some new characters, which is actually pretty cool, and I like that a lot. But for the most part, this episode had a lot of information in it, and not a whole lot of stuff with the games and people dying. Pretty much, this episode pretty much begins where you have pretty much the assistant wakes up from a weird children's story-like dream, which it seems like she may be getting her memories back, and we get to learn a little bit more about her, and it was actually pretty interesting. She seems to have, when she arrived in the bar, she already had her memories. They weren't jumbled up, or she wasn't missing any or anything. She seemed to remember that she was dead and everything, so Deckham had her memories wiped, and it seems like she may be getting her memories back little by little, in the form of these weird children's story-like dreams, which you get to see at the beginning and at the end of the episode, which is pretty interesting. I'm really curious to learn more about who she is and who she was when she was alive. I was a little bit curious before, but now knowing that she had her memories when she came back to when she came to the bar, I'm a little bit more interested to see who she was and what she was like. But for the most part, this episode begins where you're thinking off. You get your two new pretty much victims, I guess, or game players in this episode, which is an older gentleman and a young child. And things turn around pretty quickly. They don't concentrate too much on that, because soon enough we get to see that this guy starts to think that he's been in the bar before. He doesn't have memories of when he was alive, or how he got to the bar, but he has memories that he may have been there before, which is a little strange. And then you have this little kid who doesn't remember a thing. But then the guy starts to have some flashbacks of, Deckham's crazy little mannequin building thing he likes to do, which is, just a little weird. But he has a couple flashbacks to that and decides to take the kid hostage. But Deckham, I really love his character. I really like his powers with the strings. I think that is just really cool. So he goes into action and he pins this guy up against a wall, pretty much leaving the kid alone. Which, granted, you would think, it's just a little kid. You don't worry about a little kid. But the kid goes and knocks out the assistant, and she's pretty much down for the account, which is actually pretty surprising. And it actually turns out that the kid is not an actual kid. He is another arbiter by the name of Ginty, I believe his name is. I don't know if it's how it's pronounced, but his name is Ginty for all intents and purposes. That's how I'm going to pronounce it, and my eye itches. But he's a guy you'll see in the opening. He has the red hair and everything. He's quite a bit different from Deckham. He's a more loud, outspoken, high-strung type of character, while Deckham's, the more monotone, calm type. So it's actually pretty cool. You get to see another spectrum of it, and it seems like he has probably been an arbiter for quite a bit longer. It seems like Deckham is probably the newest arbiter that Nona, the younger looking one, who it actually turns out to be the boss. Turns out Deckham is the younger, newest arbiter in her little group of arbiters, which who knows how many there are. This is actually pretty interesting, but we get to see Ginty come out, and then him and Deckham start going on a little fight, and it's actually pretty weird. Deckham, he controls the strings, but this Ginty guy, he can control, this water goo stuff. So if there is actually more arbiters, I'm pretty interested to see what their powers are, and what they have, because it seems, I'm liking the powers so far. This guy controls this liquid goo stuff, and Deckham controls strings. I just think those are pretty cool powers altogether. Especially fitting the show. I really like that a lot, so I really want to, if there are more, I want to see what powers they have. I think that'd be pretty cool, but so far they haven't led to anything making me think that there are others. I would only assume there would be, but they haven't showed anything like that yet, so, and then, of course, they start to go on an all-out fight, but then Nona drops in and stops everything swiftly. She fucking clotheslines Ginty and knocks him down, and she seems to have this bracelet that can, like, immobilize him, make him fall asleep, do all this stuff, which, if that's her power, that's pretty, I mean, that's pretty crazy. Again, the powers in this show are quite awesome, and they fit the show really well, and I like it a lot. And this is actually pretty cool, and I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the episode. Nona, who is pretty much the boss of the Arbiters, who she's playing this pool game, which is like, it's a fucking awesome pool game. It's like galactic pool. They're playing pool, which is on like a solar system table with like planet balls. You have like Saturn, Earth. I mean, it was really cool. And she's playing with this old guy, whose name was something or other. I can't remember what his name was, but he says that he is the closest thing to God. I'm pretty interested to see more what he is and who he is. I think that's pretty interesting. But we get to meet him. Not too much on him. I want to see more who he is, but nothing much on that front happened. We just get to meet that character, who we do see in the intro. But then after Nona leaves, after stopping the fight between Ginty and Deckham, the assistant is pretty much knocked out for the count. Still, and Deckham puts her in her bed and lets her do her thing. But it turns out this whole thing with the dude and the kid was actually all a test. The guy was actually just a dummy implanted with, fake memories, and wasn't an actual human, while the kid was Ginty, and it was all a test, which I guess is kind of like, how restaurants get tested in their facilities for cleanliness and stuff like that. I guess it's kind of like this, where they get tested to see how they do, with certain scenarios and how they are doing as an arbiter. So it turns out this whole thing was pretty much just a test to see how Deckham would do, and I guess he failed, but it seems like Deckham is more like, even though he's more monotone, he understands the more human part of it, while this other Ginty guy is just like going by the book, really just doing what he has to, while Deckham is actually putting up more thought into it, which I think is actually pretty interesting. I'm pretty interested to see more of what goes on. But that's pretty much the bulk of what happened in this episode. At the end, we do get to see a character named Castra, who is a pretty weird lady. She's wearing this weird skull mask, and it kind of seems, from what I could tell, it seems like she is tracking deaths all over the world. Other than that, I'm not really sure what her purpose is, but it does seem like she tracks deaths, because she does give a number of deaths throughout a day, which was like 7,000, something like that, which is pretty crazy. I don't know if that's in one country, if that's all over the world. If it's all over the world, I would imagine it's probably more than that, but I don't know. But overall, I really like this episode. Fantastic episode. I would have to give it a 9.5 out of 10. I don't want to give it a 10 because it did open up some questions to who these new characters are, and I would like to know more about them, which I'm sure we'll get to know later down the line. But overall, a really good episode. I really love this show. I can't wait till it actually comes out on like DVD and Blu-ray so I can physically own it. I would love to own this series, and we're only 5 episodes in, so this is going to be an amazing show. I love it a lot. 9.5 out of 10. I really recommend you guys go watch the show if you haven't. But tell me what you guys thought of this episode in the comment section below. If you guys thought I missed anything, also tell me in the comment section below. If you guys could give this video a like, I would very much appreciate it. Thank you all so much for the amazing love and support you've left this year in 2015. It has been amazing. I love you all, and I will see you all next time. I am out.